So this is my 1997 Toyota Rav4. This was my sister's first car, and it was a car that we both took our driving tests in. So I have history with this car. Now my sister didn't really want to sell it, but we made a deal. I bought it from her at a real cheap price, but in exchange, when I'm ready to sell it, I have to sell it back to her at the same price. So I got it for super cheap, and all I had to replace was the steering rack, both tie rod ends, all of the brakes, most of the exhaust system, a wheel bearing, you know, little stuff. I considered filming this, but no. Look at this mess. All of that was from the steering rack leak. That's how bad it was leaking, and I only drove it for like a month before I replaced the steering rack, and that's all in that 1 month. So what I've learned from this experience is that my sister is smarter than me. Now it runs and drives great, but it still does need some work. It's got rust, obviously. It's taken a couple of impacts. We'll fix that in time. There's still a few little things like a check engine light needs to be looked into, but the interior is perfect. Look at that. Look at those 90's Jazz Cup seats. Perfect shape, no tears, nothing. Dashboard is perfect, no cracks, no blemishes, nothing. Even the steering wheel, look at the steering wheel. This car has 272,000 kilometers on it, and the steering wheel looks like it's new from the factory. That's impossible. I don't know how this happened, but I am so glad this car is so well preserved. On the inside. The outside still needs a lot of work. Now the reason I wanted to buy it is the 4Runner. I love him, never getting rid of him. But he is so hard on gas. It's like 16 miles per gallon or something ridiculous like that. It's like 15 liters per 100 kilometers. It just eats gas. And I have put 100,000 kilometers on it in the last 3 years. So I drive a lot. So the fuel prices, they're going up. Definitely affects me quite a bit. Which is why I want the Rav. So I still have this for harsh conditions, the winter, off-roading, whenever I need to tow something, but I have the Rav for my daily commuter. And yeah, she needs some work. But I mean, this is YouTube, that's content. So I just took it on a short 2,500 kilometer drive, no big deal, and it's having problems again. So it had an oil leak already, but it was just a tiny little oil leak, and now it's getting pretty bad. So I have to deal with that. And it started losing coolant, so that's a new problem. And I don't know where the coolant's going. Sometimes it would hesitate to accelerate. So all those three problems put together made me think head gasket. But I used one of these kits and tested it, and it seems that it's apparently not the head gasket. So I actually have 3 different problems to deal with. So today I'm going to replace the valve cover gasket and potentially the distributor gasket, because those are probably what's leaking. Going to replace the spark plug wires, and I'm going to replace an EGR solenoid, because that might be causing the hesitation. And will it fix it? I don't know. Now, normally throwing parts at a problem is not the correct way to deal with it, but in this case, this is all stuff I had to do anyway, so I'm just going to do it and see if that fixes the problem. If it does, great. If not, well, I was going to do it anyway. And as for the coolant leak, I don't know, it hasn't leaked since I refilled it, so I guess I'll have to wait for it to become more obvious. So I've labeled all the spark plug wires before removing them. Now, there's only 4, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out which was which, but sometimes, if you put a little bit of effort in, you can be lazier later. But to get the last one out, I have to remove this bracket, which is holding the throttle cable. This is just a 12mm bolt. And then to remove the actual valve cover itself, underneath the spark plug covers, there's these nuts here. They're 30mm. Also, this and this vacuum tube need to be removed. This one I can leave on because it was attached to the airbox and now it's not. Fuck. Got it. Okay, now this should just come off, but it's probably going to be stuck. Oop. That was easier than I expected. Spoke too soon. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to remove this bit of trim that's by the timing belt cover. I think it's just covering some power cables, but it's blocking the little lip on the bottom of here, so I'll have to at least move it. This one is a 10 millimeter. So while I'm in here, I decided to do the distributor gasket too, because it's probably leaking. And this is what it looked like. So yeah, I'm going to say it was almost certainly leaking. Now I could just throw the new gasket in and call it a day, but I want to make this pretty, so now that is a big improvement, but I think I can do better. There, much better. Now to put it back on the car. Well, it certainly looks better. Hopefully it doesn't leak oil anymore. And maybe the power issue misfire will go away because I replaced all the spark wires. I haven't done the EGR solenoid yet just because it's really hard to get at and I don't feel like it right now. So that's it for now. Hopefully it holds up. Well, now I've fixed everything. Not even the check engine light. So I guess the only thing now is to do the leaderboard test. So my plan is I'm going to take it to a gas station, fill it to full, and I've planned out a 100-kilometer route to make the math easy. So I'll do the 100-kilometer route, go back to the same gas station, fill up again. Okay, we just got gas. Fuel gauge isn't full yet, it's slowly going up because in this car it slowly goes up after being filled, but we're at a full tank and we're able to take off. It's getting dark, but that's because it's November here. Not going to be hypermiling, not going to be driving aggressively, just going to be driving normally. You know, maybe doing this during rush hour wasn't the best idea. So I stopped and grabbed food, but it's okay because I planned that into the route so it doesn't affect my test. So this thing's actually pretty comfortable on the highway. It's got a little bit of wind noise, but that's the only downside. We're doing 2,000 RPM, we're going 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour. Ignore the door light. The passenger side door's got a problem where sometimes it does that. And maybe getting food this early in the trip was a mistake. I got my heater blowing on it to keep it warm until I get home, and now I can just smell it and I'm super hungry. Okay, we're back at the gas station at even the same fuel pump. So time to see how much gas we used. So we drove 100 kilometers, used 5.5 liters, so it's easy math, 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers. Okay, bye.